The cosmic archer has arrived on May the 31st. We're seeing a full moon in the sign of Sagittarius. And of course, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is, of course, the great benefic. So this is actually a positive full moon. It's also at 9 degrees, which is a Sagittarius degree. That really amplifies all of the positivity and hope and faith and abundance. It's also about our higher beliefs, spirituality, and of course, also about truth and freedom. So happy to see you guys back again. I know I have been putting out less content the last couple of weeks because you can probably hear it in my voice. I'm still recovering from a pretty intense flu, and for the last couple of weeks, Saturn has been hitting my sun, really giving me increased responsibilities while zapping my life force energy. So, yeah, that's all very great and very demotivating to say, at least. And also, my views have been tanking, my engagement has been tanking. So, yeah, Saturn on the Sun, it's pretty intense energy, you guys. And of course, Saturn is about blocks and limitations. So I knew this would be coming, but I'm like, come on, guys. Like, I've been putting in the hard work. So if you want to help me out, you can definitely leave me a comment, like, share, and subscribe, of course. And yeah, just like leave me a stupid emoji. All stupid emojis are very, very welcome if you want to help me out and just like engage with this video. And I will be getting my act back soon together, and then I will be hopping back into the good algorithm. So if you see me muting my mic during this video, then it's probably because I'm sniffling, coughing, and dying in silence. So I don't bother you guys too much with whatever's going on. So still very happy and excited to be back here and to be talking more about this very optimistic, faithful, and expansive full moon in Sagittarius. I really love Sagittarius. It's a fire sign. They are very blunt and honest, and they're very always like very optimistic. I just really, really love my fellow fire signs. So let me know in the comments below where you are watching this from and what's your rising sign and how you are feeling and doing with the current energies, because it's very positive that this ruler of the full moon, Jupiter, is about to get a conjunction of Venus. Yes, on June the 9th, Venus and Jupiter will be walking hands in hand, and these are the two benefics. So, good times ahead. Let's roll and look at the presentation that I've got for you guys today. Here we, of course, have the keywords of the sign of Sagittarius. And of course, Sag, it is so adventurous. It's about exploration and travel and new horizons and really zooming out and looking at the 40,000 feet view. It is also a very big truth seeker. It is about boldly pursuing honesty, and it's about meaning and higher wisdom. Very optimistic because it can always see life through an optimistic lens of faith and possibilities. And philosophy is, of course, also a very big keyword of Sag because they love the bigger questions. They are very in tune with spirituality, and they constantly upgrade and elevate their belief systems. They're also very independent. They value their freedom, their space, and their personal growth. And of course, the spontaneity of Sag is also very, very beautiful because they always act on their intuition, and they often leap before looking or knowing the exact outcome. So, like, releasing the attachment of outcome is definitely also a very big highlight or key trait of Sag. Yeah, blunt but honest. They speak with so much fire, even when it sometimes stings a little bit, and we need to be careful not to become overly confident with this energy. And of course, also the visionary, they chase their dreams, they are very futuristic thinking, they can naturally inspire others, they're also very good storytellers. Sometimes they can get a little bit restless because they're always chasing the next adventure or idea, but in the end, that just gives them the ability to tap into their higher wisdom, and by that, changing their belief systems. So that is the energy that we're now all going to be partaking in together. And if you look at the chart, here we can see the full moon in Sag. And the most affected signs are, of course, all of the mutable signs. Because look, you guys, the nodes are also with immutable signs. So this full moon is actually bending the north node and the south node. So it's bending the nodes of fate, which is very, very important, you guys. It means that right now, during this full moon, we are exactly in between two eclipse seasons. So the last one was in the middle of February until March. The next one is going to start on the 12th of August with the new moon solar eclipse in Leo, which I'm pretty excited for. And then by the end of August, on the 28th of August, we are wrapping up the eclipse season with a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. And then we're finally done with all of the Pisces energy. So great. I'm looking forward to the next eclipse season. It's going to be a big one with also Jupiter, the ruler of this full moon, will then be in the sign of Leo, a fellow fire sign and fire planet in a fire sign. That is going to be very exciting. So of course, if you look at this full moon, more people are going to feel this intense urge for freedom and they want expansion. A lot of you are going to decide to travel, others want to go back to school, others might leave confining relationships or careers or certain types of visions or belief systems that they've actually totally outgrown. Sag, it like does not tolerate stagnation. It wants growth, it wants movement, and it wants authenticity. So this is definitely going to expose where a lot of people have been suppressing the truth within themselves. And that can come through the form of like vivid dreams, intuitive downloads, emotional realizations, which is actually always the case during a full moon. And there can be like a sudden clarity or a light bulb switching on about the path that you're truly meant to follow. Sag just like zooms out and looks at the bigger picture, and still Sag can be a little bit preachy or can also be overconfident or like overly excited. So discernment also matters right now. And you're definitely going to be seeing that playing out on the world stage with the propaganda that is going to be like off the charts. But yeah, what's new, right? If you look a bit deeper into the Sag energy, it's like this is such a great full moon, you guys, because being at the 9th degree, which is like a Sagittarius degree, just like amplifying the amplification of Sag itself. It just like kind of doubled down on like the fire, on the truth seeking, on like the expansiveness qualities. It's like double fire here in the mix, you guys. So this is actually very welcome to see. And of course, Sag is ruled over by expansive Jupiter, and Sag it always wants like more wisdom, more truth, more experience, more freedom. And of course, Sag also rules over travel and higher education, publishing, religion, philosophy, spirituality, also foreign cultures. And definitely it's about the search for meaning. Sag does not like to be trapped in a tiny box. It really wants to expand beyond the limitations and really discover what else exists out there in the world and within like the mind as well. Because of course it opposes Gemini. Gemini is like the facts, the data, and then Sag is like more the visionary qualities that are not so much based on facts. So of course, Sag, the archetype is the centaur, of course, half human, half horse. It's aiming its arrow towards the night sky. And this is so powerful because there's like this the symbolism of the centaur. It's really about like the journey between our animal instincts and our higher consciousness. So what do you believe in and which truth are you following and what future direction are you actually aiming towards? Of course, every sign has its shadow side too, and when a Sag is being put under pressure, then the energy can become like overly reckless, overly confident, preachy, opinionated, and a bit disconnected from reality from time to time. So we need to balance our faith with our wisdom and our optimism with some discernment right now. But you guys, I'm loving this so much. I'm gonna repeat it again that this is like at 9 degrees, a Sag degree. It just really amplifies the Sag signature, and it's like pure Sag energy without the delusion of it. And this is so cool, you guys, because it is about like really discovering something new. And if you publish something, or if you read a book in regards to philosophy right now, or if you're in this spiritual seeking energy, then this can definitely be a very, very cool full moon. And of course, Sag is also very spiritual, you guys. There are going to be a lot of synchronicity, signs, vivid dreams, messages from your spirit guides. That is definitely very, very strong here in the mix. And more on a global stage, I think this is really going to magnify all the themes around international travel. And you guys, aviation is going to be such a big one. Border policies, universities, campuses, protests in universities on campuses is going to be a big one, because look, it makes a quincunx towards Mars in Taurus, which is still squaring off with Pluto. So that's kind of intense, you guys. Definitely something to be mindful about when we see a quincunx aspect that is like energy that does not correlate well with one another. It just like doesn't like the signs that are in a 150-degree aspect from one another. The energy just doesn't resonate very well. So that is definitely exact here with Mars also being at 9 degrees. So there can definitely be some conflictive clashes over ideals and over the idealistic vision. And that is definitely something to keep in mind here, you guys. But definitely, it is the energy is picking up around truth, ideology, freedom, and actually also the direction that humanity is heading in towards. Some people are going to be very excited with the trine to Neptune and Saturn, while others are going to have a very different view upon things right now with the quincunx to Mars. And then there's also an opposition to Uranus, which just throws a lot of excitement and unpredictability into the mix here. The sextile to Pluto also indicates that there's a lot of transformative quality being added towards this full moon as well. And of course, when we look at the polarizing aspects and the polarizing energies here, we have the moon in Sag and the sun in Gemini. And it's actually fascinating always to look at the polarity, because yeah, there's like a battle, which is always the case between a full and a new moon. They always oppose one another. So in Gemini, the sun there, it rules over data and the facts and media, communication, sometimes also gossip. Social media is also always a very big one here. And it's about major news headlines. And Sag then at the other side, that rules over the truth and higher understanding and like a global perspective. And it's also about spirituality and the meaning of sometimes you can add a lot of meaning towards the facts, while the facts are simply the facts. No, Sag doesn't operate like that. That is why we have Gemini for that. So of course, with those polarities getting into the mix right now, the actual question is like, okay, but what is the truth here? And the sun in Gemini, it focuses on ideas and logic and communication, with the moon in Sag, that is really about faith. And we need to find balance between our thinking and our knowing, between our curiosity of Gemini and our conviction of the sign of Sag. So we need to balance information with wisdom right now. So yeah, on a global stage, we can definitely see a lot of propaganda. People are gonna be if you look at last year, that was also such a big team, you guys. And that was also when there were a lot of things going on at universities, and I think we even saw a shooting. I'm knocking on wood not to manifest that, but with the quincunx to Mars, we can see school shootings here, honestly. So I hope that I'm wrong. But immigration is also going to be a big theme, border policies, international politics, and also international trade and business. Airlines, we can see, unfortunately, an accident with an airplane as well. And we're also going to see global new laws getting implemented or being released, depends on the country and on the mundane charts as well. It's a full moon, it's always a portal of release, but definitely we are going to see some major developments in regards to like ideological battles, definitely on campuses. And we're also going to see censorship debates trying to, because it's a full moon and a release, trying to hide the truth, but that's going to backfire with the quincunx to Mars. Definitely also a lot going on in regards to all the data centers that they're trying to implement, and a lot of revolting against that as well. And also we're going to see a lot of legal issues involving the educational systems that can be quite unexpected with the opposition to Uranus here as well. Definitely a lot of conversations about what information is being taught at school, because Gemini is elementary school, but Sag is like university or like higher education. So what information is being taught in both like sectors? Also, what is being suppressed, what is being politicized, what is being controlled. We're going to see some outrage with the quincunx to Mars around educational policies, a lot of global academic systems. We can even see scandals. Freedom of speech is going to be a big one. Everything that is actually connected to universities, but also the mainstream media and even the alternative media. But I would definitely also watch air travel. Aviation is going to be a very big theme here with this one. International transport, we can see some stuff going on at airports. And yeah, a lot of international travel disruptions, in my opinion, here. Definitely also with Mercury about to square Neptune and then later Saturn. In the aftermath of this full moon, we can definitely see some issues with global trade and transport and aviation and everything that kind of moves, or everything that is tied to mercurial themes as well. But Sag, it also rules over religion and spirituality and our moral compass and like the collective ideology. So religious institutions are going to come up. A lot of like global belief systems that are getting rewired right now. We can also see a lot of political extremism with this one, and really people preaching for their side, not realizing that left and right are both part of the same bird. So in my opinion, not really good subject to fight about, because both can be wrong, both can be right. And that is so difficult with the sign of Sag, because Gemini, that is purely like what's the facts, what's the data. But in Sag, when you look at it from multiple perspectives, both sides can actually both be wrong and right at the same time. And I think that is also one of the lessons here, that it is not, it's actually not okay to fight, and to be so rigid in your thinking patterns. Looking at things from different perspectives is definitely going to help you get through this one. And we need to be able to balance things out. And of course, Sag makes a sextile towards Libra, but Libra, there's nothing traveling right now there in that sign. But still, the sextile towards Pluto does indicate that there's like transformation taking place in our belief systems right now, and that we maybe need to be able to look at things from both sides or multiple perspectives. And that is going to help us to get through the quincunx with Mars. Do not go fight. And definitely, if you think If you're totally convinced that you embody the full truth, the opposition to Uranus is going to shake you up and it's going to show you that it's not true what you're thinking, and that there are multiple sides and multiple perspectives. So do not be too convinced or too convicted within your beliefs. Otherwise, Uranus is going to shake that up for sure. So hold space, open up for like rewiring your beliefs, and to really also be able to tap into your higher wisdom and look at the facts, but also use the energy of Sag to interpret those facts. It's going to be very difficult with everything that they're going to be putting out now in the news and in the global narrative, um, to really like have one general truth. Like we always know that's not possible, but it's going to be amplified and expanded during this time with the full moon. So, of course, publishing, broadcasting, journalism, all of that is also going to be a very, very big theme. And we might have some shakeups by major news headlines connected to international airports and also international travel and distribution of goods as well. So, yeah, who controls the narrative? Which truths can actually be trusted? If you look at the Sabian symbol, I love that one so much. I'm so happy with the Sabian symbol because it's a golden haired goddess of opportunity. This is such a mystical Sabian symbol, you guys, and it's so fascinating because it's about like the radiant, divine, feminine figure that appears before humanity, and she's offering a lot of opportunities and rewards and abundance, prosperity, and there's a lot of sense of like destiny being added into the mix here. So also know she's not simply gonna hand success to people randomly. No, it is about recognition, but only to those people who are going to be willing to continue the spiritual journey, even when there are no absolute guarantees. And there's going to be rewards for those who kept aiming the arrow forward despite all of the current uncertainty right now. So we need to be willing to keep moving towards the new horizon, even when we cannot fully see the new destination yet. And it talks also about timing, like being at the right place at the right time. It can be about the divine synchronicity and fate opening up doors very unexpectedly with the opposition to Uranus. So we also see the notes of fate, of course, squaring this lunation, which adds a lot of destiny in the mix as well. And we have Jupiter, the ruler, exalted in Cancer. So a lot of people are going to start to realize or have some new insights and revelations in why certain things happened the way they did, and that there's something very karmically beautiful about all of it. And definitely this is about realigning with your soul path as well. And yeah, look at the opportunities that are appearing. Grab them with both hands right now, you guys, because this is rare. It is a very cool Sabian symbol, so really make the most of it. And Sag, of course, it always believes in like something bigger, and it is about being hopeful and having inspiration and wanting more meaning into your life. But sometimes we also need to remember that the real rewards are not always all the external validation from other people. Sometimes it's also about like, yeah, the real reward can be about becoming the person that can recognize the authentic opportunity when it arrives, and to be believing in yourself enough to be taking them with both hands. So yeah, the future opportunities, they also belong to like those people that are willing to keep walking towards the truth, even when the path of truth ahead still feels a little bit unknown or unsure. If you are a truth warrior, then it doesn't matter where you're going to be ending up, because you just follow the truth and you do not actually hesitate about that path. That is how I go out and about life with my Jupiter in Sagittarius in its home sign. I'm actually lucky. It's one of my better placements in the chart that balances out a lot of the more heavy stuff in my natal chart. So I'm grateful for that. But definitely The full moon can be opening up a doorway that can be very karmic, very destined, with the nodes of fate squaring this lunation. It can even be a spiritual doorway, a timeline shift, and luck, it is not random. Luck always like also can happen when we tap into the courage of Sag, and when we just surrender to the divine timing, then we can arrive at our destiny very easily without a lot of resistance. And the spiritual alignment can then like finally meet everything at like the exact destined moment. So here we see that the full moon squares the nodes of fate. And that is actually a big one, you guys, because that is like meaning that we're energetically sitting right in between eclipse seasons. And whenever we see lunation here, bending the nodes of fate, destiny just gets so much louder. Yeah, this one is really like pushing us towards timelines that we can no longer avoid, because they're actually good for us, because they actually indicate a lot of growth. So yeah, this is a very big crossroad moment, and a lot of people are going to feel like, okay, now this is a time where something needs to change. I cannot wait any longer. And of course, if you're a mutable sign, which is of course Gemini, Sag, Virgo or Pisces, then you're going to feel this way stronger. Can be about a very big transition or an important ending or turning point, or simply a major perspective shift also, you guys. Of course, mutable signs are like the seasons before the season shifts. So there's like a transition going on right now. And this can definitely be about faded meetings or endings or faded news, faded revelations. And conversations can also feel way more important. And yeah, choices that you make right now are going to carry more weight than during other full moons. So yeah, maybe you're just going to simply realize that the path you have been walking no longer aligns with who you are right now, and really embodying that newfound authenticity with being able to like connect to your higher vision and your higher self as well during this time. So this is actually very, very beautiful energy, you guys. Another thing that is important is that this full moon is actually also conjunct the fixed star Antares. So, of course, this is big because Antares is one of the most powerful fixed stars, and it sits around 9 degrees of Sagittarius in the tropical astrology. In like the astronomy, which is not astrology, in the astronomy, it actually sits in the heart of the Scorpion. So that is actually very fascinating because Antares carries a combination of Sag vision that is actually mixed with a lot of Martian intensity. So this is not about soft spiritual wisdom, and it's really about like the truth that arrives like fire, burning everything away, and by then transforming a lot of the stuff that is actually being destructed by Antares. So, of course, the truth is going to come out. It's going to force collective awakening. Antares has also been associated with themes like war, prophecies, can also be about obsession, about certain ideologies. That then can cause further military conflict. We're going to see some more exposure about that, of course. It can also trigger ambition, fame, but it comes like with extreme conviction. So it's not energy to be messed with, honestly. And on a global stage, we are going to see an increasing conflict over certain ideologies by certain evil countries in the Middle East. So yeah, with that being said, of course, the military rhetoric is going to turn up a notch. The geopolitical conflicts and definitely the debates in regards to immigration are going to light up. Religious narratives are going to throw some chaos into the mix here. And yeah, and Taurus just like kind of intensifies whatever collective mission that we become like emotionally fixated on right now. So be sure that everything that happens on the global stage, do not let it throw you out of balance. Connect with yourself, with your inner truth, with your own higher truth, and practice spirituality and philosophy, and do not get mixed up into the very big, convictive debates about ideology that are going to take place in the next couple of weeks, because that's going to be a very, very big one. Yeah. Which truth are you actually willing to follow into the future, and what is your own truth, and does it get backed by the facts, or are you just simply living in an illusion, or are you just over fixating or over analyzing with the south node in Virgo? So of course, why I said living in an illusion is the north node in Pisces, with the moon squaring that and also the sun squaring that. I was just like highlighting the big mutable cross, or the grand mutable cross that we're seeing here in the chart. So let go of like over hyper fixating, being too critical. Just surrender, go with the flow. Know that everything happens at a destined moment in time. That is definitely the case here right now. If we then look at the ruler of this full moon, that is, of course, the beautiful Jupiter. He is, of course, the great benefic. So Jupiter is in an exalted sign of Cancer, which means that Jupiter likes to be here, and he's actually wrapping up its final steps in the sign of Cancer, because on the 30th of June, it will jump over into the sign of Leo. I have been counting down the years for this to happen. Of course, it is exalted in Cancer, yes, and it likes to be here, but it has been squaring off with Saturn for almost its entire time that it's spent in Cancer. So I knew that like the benefic qualities of Jupiter would get refrained and limited by Saturn. And I think as a Cancer or as an Aries, we can definitely see that. Definitely as a Cancer. So yeah, if you're a Leo, you're gonna have more benefits of Jupiter in your sign than Cancer, unfortunately, because it was squaring off with Saturn. But having a fire planet in a fire sign, that is something to be really celebrated. It will be the last planetary shift of this year that we're gonna see with Jupiter changing signs. And of course, I'm gonna do a whole video and even a workshop on Jupiter in Leo, and it's gonna be such a fun one. But of course, Leo rolls over like the world stage, and Jupiter is going to blow things up even more fully, and that is definitely going to be popcorn time. So yeah, I would say stack up on popcorn. Be careful for like an indigestion in the next year because of too much popcorn. That is definitely going to be the case. But more on that later. So, Jupiter in Cancer, the ruler of this full moon, is of course connected to the home and family, emotional healing. It's like also about emotional intelligence that is being highlighted here right now. But it can also be like a very big release or revelation or some new insights about our ancestry, Cancer, or about the past. Cancer rules over the past, and it can also be like reminiscing about whatever we inherited from our family tree as well. Cancer also rules over motherhood, intuition, and nourishment as well, housing, belonging, feeling safe, seen, and secure. So yeah, that is actually a very welcoming sign. Jupiter, it is actually unexpected, but Venus is about to close in on Jupiter. So that is definitely adding a lot of positivity into the mix, you guys, because the combination of Venus and Jupiter, the two benefics in the same sign, about to get into the conjunction on June the 9th, it can bring a lot of healing in relationship and a lot of emotional abundance, because of course it's a water sign, you guys. So it can be more about like blessings within your fertility or creativity or softness or generosity from the family as well, just simply enjoying a lot of positive connections. People are definitely going to want to crave more true emotional safety and also deeper intimacy, you guys. So we're definitely going to see stronger conversations with the full moon in Sag around our home life, the affordability of houses, how the birth rates are plummeting, how we take care of our children, the family system, and how that has been like, how that they have been trying to destroy that, like the family unit that has been under fire for quite some time, and how that affects our emotional well-being and our ability to form meaningful partnerships as well, and then also how that creates issues inside of the household. And this is an opportunity for healing, you guys. So at the same time, Venus also squares Saturn. So there's like also still a reality check happening here, you guys. And a lot of people are going to realize that certain relationships, Venus cannot grow further anymore under the pressure of Saturn. Other people can start to commit to something, yeah, real and long term, but it can be more about practicality in this case. But we definitely are going to need to tap into our emotional maturity. That is going to be strongly required here under this full moon. Of course, we also see the full moon trining Saturn. Sorry, you guys. And it also trines Neptune. So this is the spiritual warrior archetype that gets triggered here. And then Saturn and Aries is also teaching a lot of discipline within your beliefs and courage within expressing those beliefs and having resilience in your own truth, and also be accountable towards your higher self. The Neptune in Aries is really like awakening a lot of spiritual fire and imagination, and a lot of divine inspiration gets thrown into the mix here as well. So this is actually very positive. We need to fight Aries for something meaningful, Sag, and that doesn't need to necessarily go through chaos with the quincunx aspect to Mars. We need to have or tap into like conscious action with the trines to Aries. So this is so powerful for spiritual healing, you guys, and also for rebuilding your self-belief, because Saturn and Aries has been teaching a lot of us that we need to do things for the first time, things that we have never done before, and that we're actually quite capable at doing them, and like also stopping about like the salvation of people in a power position that are going to come save us. No, it's not going to happen. We're going to need to do it ourselves. And this is another full moon that is putting a strong emphasis on that as well. And a lot of people are going to realize that they're actually far stronger than they believed in themselves. So then we also see an opposition to Uranus here. And that is one of the more volatile aspects, you guys. This one is very unpredictable. Uranus, it always brings shocks, surprises, disruptions, but also a lot of awakening. And by that, a lot of sudden reversals that are actually caused or triggered by a lot of unexpected events, you guys. But it can feel a little bit like a roller coaster for some, especially if you're a mutable sign. Your schedule suddenly changes, and there can be emotional outbursts with the quincunx to Mars and Taurus, shocking conversations, or like some kind of abrupt ending, or some kind of like truth coming out, Sag. And that is then like a surprise revelation with the opposition to Uranus. You get the facts, the thing that you thought never could have happened, happened. All right, sorry, you guys. So Uranus is always like expect the unexpected. All the things you thought were never possible can definitely be shoved under your nose. Like, here is the truth, here are the facts. And you're like, wow, I was never expecting this, but still I have the proof now, and now I need to change something, switch over to like another planet. And that is definitely going to be the case for some of you guys. Definitely Uranus wants liberation, it wants freedom, but it doesn't always deliver that very gently, to say the least. So with this in the mix, and also the sextile towards Pluto, we are going to have some surprises in regards to technology and more control trying to get implemented in society. We can see internet outages, a disruption within air travel, a lot of ups and downs in the financial market as well, definitely connected to cryptocurrencies, and some food supply chain disruptions as well with Mars and Taurus here as well. So Also, we're going to see some political announcements that are going to ruffle some feathers, but yeah, we've been living in this for quite some time now. I do not think that's going to come as a very big surprise anymore. The sextile to Pluto is just very transformative. So yeah, that is more pointing towards like technology, AI, the social structures, and also the online communities. We might also see some humanitarian issues with this, or just like um, yeah, we're gonna see some truths being exposed into the themes that I've just mentioned. If we then look at the Sag full moon rituals, then of course the full moon, it's all about like expansion and abundance and opportunities with the Sabian symbol and good luck and spiritual growth. But how can we tap into that even more fully? Well, that is actually by working with the fire element, of course, and also to look at your beliefs. It is a full moon, so we need to do like a clearing in regards to our belief systems. So look at the limitations that you are still owning inside. So which limiting beliefs do you still carry that actually keep you emotionally small, or keep you limiting yourself? Write down every fear, every limitation, burn the paper safely, and everything that is connected to some kind of fire ritual is especially powerful now, because Sag is, of course, a fire sign. So speak your truth, align with a higher purpose, tap into your vision, rewrite your vision if you feel like it's still too limiting. Sag is about dream big, zoom out, look at the big picture, and just go for the things that you believe in. The Anya chakra, so the third eye chakra, is also connected to Sag, because it's about like higher learning, truth seeking, and expanded perception. So you can definitely work with that chakra. It governs over your intuition and your spiritual insight. And yeah, look at the questions for like deeper meaning, and also trust your inner guidance. Another chakra that we can work with is the Svadhisthana, and that is, of course, the sacral chakra, and that is also connected to Sag, because it's also about adventure, passion, and freedom. So it's, of course, the center of movement, desire, and joy. So also tap into these beautiful frequencies, you guys. Live your life boldly, embrace more pleasure and some risk. Flow with life. Do not be afraid to live your life to the fullest. That is definitely also what this full moon is saying. Some journaling prompts that you can write down for this full moon is definitely: which truths do I need to live or embody more fully? What did you set out 6 months ago during the new moon in Sag that now completes? And how have you gained more knowledge and higher wisdom about everything that you've planted 6 months ago? Maybe also look at where you have outgrown certain old beliefs or limits since 6 months ago, and celebrate those for the growth and the movement that made in your life. And also look at what freedom truly means to you. For example, freedom to me, it doesn't mean having a big house and a big car and a lot of numbers on my bank account, because actually none of that is yeah, happening for me. But I do live a calm life. I make my own hours. I choose how much I want to work. I have a lot of free time. I choose when I go to the gym. I can plan whenever I want to work. Like, having freedom, and especially ample of time to tap into the things that I like to do. And also with my entire Pisces stellium, in the morning, I just need like an hour, sometimes 2 hours, to just like stare at the wall and to like be in the other spaces, or like in the unseen spaces. That is for me true freedom, and also that is what makes me rich, even though I do not have a lot of numbers on my bank account. But yeah, that can all change, and I think we need to really choose what makes us happy. But yeah, it's almost unaffordable to get your own house. And if you do get your own house, then you can work 6 days a week to be able to afford your house, where you're not being able to like spend a lot of time in because you need to pay all the bills. Then I rather not have a house, but a lot of free time to simply do the things that make my heart sing. So freedom and richness, that looks very different depending on each person and each personality, of course. So just write that to yourself and also look how that is going to evolve over the next 6 months of time. Um, Then the crystals. We have, of course, the turquoise, that is for protection. It's also like the birthstone of Sag. We also have the amethyst, or the amethyst, for spiritual clarity and inner peace. And we also have the blue topaz that is going to enhance our mental capabilities, and that is really going to help us to awaken your true capabilities. So you can all carry them or work with them during this full moon, and you can also light a blue candle to activate the Sag energy. So yeah, guys, like under full moons and new moons in Sag, that is always when the archer shoots the arrow. That is like, look at where you're aiming your arrow. Where are you shooting towards? Where are you going forward to? What do you want to like grow and expand into your life? So be sure to aim it in the right direction. All right. We're going to start with the readings for the 12 signs. So, if you do not know your rising sign, because it's important to listen to your rising sign first, then you can listen to your sun sign. And if you have a moon in Sag, you can definitely also listen for your moon sign. So, if you do not know your rising sign, then you can go to astroseek.com, choose the birth chart. You can put in all of your birth information and details, and when you do that, you're going to be able to find out your rising sign. In this case, it is a Capricorn rising. So let's start with my fellow Aries, sun, moon, or rising. All right, my dear Aries, you're going to have a full moon in the sign of Sag. You're definitely going to be feeling this one very positively, Aries, because it grinds you in a fellow fire sign from the ninth house. So this is definitely going to activate you. It's going to energize you. It's going to feel very expansive. Something is waking up inside. And of course, the ninth is connected to travel, higher education, spirituality, publishing. Can also be about legal matters. If you are involved in a court case, then something can be wrapped up here under this energy. It can also be about wanting to immigrate to another country, to broaden your horizons. Maybe you're a teacher and you're wrapping up an important project, or you want to dive in more fully into a new philosophy. That can definitely help you a lot if you connect with foreign cultures, and by that you can also expand your worldview. Of course, all of that together combined can become very, very big for you guys. So some of you are going to want to book a trip, plan a relocation, apply for a visa, deal with legal paperwork. Some of you might even graduate from a course, get a certification. Others are going to want to decide to go back to school. But like, it's also about like, with the ruler Jupiter in the fourth house, maybe you have emotionally outgrown the environment that you're currently spending most of your time in. And maybe you're going to be pondering about that a lot during this time. So maybe you're going to feel a little bit restless, that all of your old routines, old perspectives no longer feel like big enough for who you are right now or who you want to become. So this is opening up a lot of possibilities, Aries. So your soul, it needs adventure, it needs expansion, it needs movement and meaning, and you might get pushed outside of your comfort zone here a little bit. But I know you, my dear fellow Aries, you really like that. Some of you are gonna really want to like physically traveling or moving towards something new. And with Jupiter, the ruler in the fourth house, of course, the fourth house is about home, family, roots, your emotional foundations, and also your living situation. So this can be growing pains emotionally, or you're, because it's a full moon, you can wrap up some growing pains emotionally that can be connected to your family as well. Actually, as an Aries sun sign, I'm not an Aries rising, but as an Aries sun sign, that strongly correlates for me right now. I had some very beautiful things happening in my family, some things that I would consider um not normal, but very positive. So also, yeah, Jupiter in Cancer is so much connected to your emotional security and your ancestry and your feeling and your sense of belonging. So um, look at how you can free yourself, Sag, from all the limiting family narratives or all the inherited patterns of your ancestors that have kept you small. This is like about breaking free from that. So um yeah, abundance is also very strongly connected to Jupiter in Cancer, and you can definitely find that within a very emotional or intuitive space right now. Abundance can also be about wisdom and lived experiences and perspective, and that can give a lot of emotional fulfillment. So yeah, some of you might also like feel like you start to trust life again. um, Life is bigger than your current circumstances, and bigger than your fears, and bigger than your self-limiting beliefs, and you're definitely leaping over that right now, or like you're definitely changing something in that right now. Yeah, Aries, you're never meant to stay confined, and this is definitely about, yeah, breaking free from that. So let me know what happens for you, my dear Aries, and I wish you a lot of good luck. It's gonna be a good one for you. We have Taurus and Moon rising. All right, my dear Taurus, you're gonna have the full moon in Sagittarius in your eighth house. And this is definitely not superficial. The eighth house is the house of transformation and also intimacy, can be about psychological and yeah, very deep psychological healing. Shared finances can come up, debts, taxes, inheritances, that can also trigger some kind of emotional vulnerability, or there can also simply be an energetic release happening here for you in the eighth. So, of course, um, we see a quincunx, an exact quincunx towards Mars and Taurus. So this one for you, my dear Taurus, is gonna feel a little bit emotionally uncomfortable. This one is trying to push you into an emotional evolution. And Taurus, I know you guys like stability and predictability and comfort, but this is definitely reaching some kind of breaking point. Or the breaking point can reach some kind of completion during this lunation. So there can definitely be some unexpected realizations or revelations about relationships, how you spend your finances together, who spends what, is the give and take axis and balance. Maybe some secrets are going to be revealed. The eighth house is really about like what's been lingering under the surface that gets brought up, but it's also putting a major focus on shared resources and all of your financial, energetic, psychological, sexual entanglements with other people. So yeah, it's like the full moon, it goes so much deeper than just simply money. It's about emotional intimacy, and can you actually allow yourself to be vulnerable, or does that scare you a little bit? Do you stay emotionally guarded? Can you communicate your fears instead of silently carrying them all alone all of the time? Maybe you might feel with the quincunx towards Mars in your sign that it's going to be a bit more difficult for you. Can definitely also be connected to the ruler of this full moon, which is Jupiter in your third house. That is the house of communication, mindset, contracts, your neighbors, your siblings, your local environment. It can also be about learning or about being on the road, transportation. So it's actually revealing all the things that are transforming for you emotionally, that is actually directly tied towards how you think and how you communicate. And maybe certain things that you're going to be saying are going to ruffle some feathers, or vice versa. Maybe some spoken words to you are going to hit you very deep and like in the depths of your soul with the full moon in the eighth. And that might definitely be like the final draw to having these conversations that you have been avoiding for a long time, and now it might all come out. If it's not that, then it can also be about like receiving important documents from the third house, can even be legal documents with Jupiter ruling over law and legality and the full moon in the eighth. If you've been going through a divorce, then you might sign something here. The eighth house is also about splitting up, unfortunately, but can also be about like an approval that you get, or some kind of financial paperwork, or some kind of legal discussion that can be connected to money or relationships. So for others, there might be a very revealing conversation happening with a sibling, with a partner, with a neighbor, or maybe with a family member with the sign of Cancer here, that is going to shift your insights and your perspective. Also, practice emotional openness and vulnerability. And this is definitely putting a spotlight on trust and on honesty. And maybe the truth that is going to be delivered to you is going to make you feel a little bit frustrated. That can be the case with the quincunx to Mars. But it's definitely about tapping into your assertiveness in a healthy kind of way, and communicate in like sweet kind of way as well, because of course, Venus is your chart ruler. It's also in the third house. It's squaring Saturn in the 12th. So where have you maybe been sabotaging yourself by being too sweet? Maybe you're going to need to say some things that might scare you a little bit. But do not self-sabotage during this aspect here. Also know that like not every ending is a loss. Sometimes the universe is just like clearing space and making room for something entirely different. So good luck, my dear Taurus. We have Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, my dear Gemini, you are gonna have the full moon in Sag in your opposing sign in your seventh house. So this is a big one for you, my dear Gemini. You're in the direct line of fire, especially if you have planets or angles between 7 and 13 degrees of Gemini. So this is like main character energy full moon for you guys. And of course, because the sun is going through your first house, it is actually Gemini season. So happy birthday if you have a birthday coming up soon or just had your solar return. And it's activating your first and seventh house axis, the polarity of the full moon. So of course, the seventh house is about partnerships, your marriage, your contracts, can also be about clients or collaborations, even business partnerships. Seventh can also include your clients and having like negotiations with them, or also therapists. It's definitely about significant one-on-one dynamics here. So whenever a full moon shines brightest in the seventh, then there are definitely major turning points in relationships that can ripple into all of the other areas in your life, because it's happening in angular houses. When a moon happens in the seventh, it can also simply mean that something important happens within the life of your spouse that then also like affects your career or your home situation in some kind of way. But it can also manifest in like engagements or proposals, or commitments, wrapping up, starting a new one, finding a new collaboration or partnership in business is also very likely. It's definitely about maybe people entering and leaving your life at the same time, because Sag always makes things bigger, so there can be a lot of busyness. But the deeper question here is definitely also about like, can you allow yourself to be truly seen by another person without losing yourself in the process? I know you're the sign of duality, and getting to know yourself is very important as a Gemini. And of course, Gemini, it like naturally embodies a lot of independence and movement, curiosity and freedom. And with Sag in the seventh, yeah, your partnerships or you towards your partner wants to have openness and honesty and vulnerability, and having this shared vision together is very, very important. You want relationships to expand your life instead of restricting it. So that is gonna become crystal clear during this time. And of course, if you look at the ruler of this full moon, which is Jupiter, that is going through your second house right now. And the second house is about finances, self worth, your values, your skills and talents. It's also about material stability, your possessions, your personal resources. It's a money house. So having Jupiter there is actually rather positive, even though it has been squaring Saturn for the last year or so. It's definitely beautiful because it's like showing that your relationships from the seventh are becoming very deeply tied to your sense of value and abundance right now. And there can be something opening up in those realms. You might even receive some generous offers from your partnership, or from business opportunities, gifts, investments. Just simply, there's a lot of support gained by other people right now. And it's going to show you who is genuinely standing beside you and who is genuinely investing in you emotionally, and who is actually truly aligned with the future that you're building here. So that is actually very positive and very blessed for you, my dear Gemini. So there can also be like engagements, weddings, moving in, major collaborations, even soul connections, or like very big life changing partnerships happening here. Either something comes in or something gets wrapped up, and by that, there's more room for those real soulmate connections to come in. Your chart ruler, Mercury, is about to jump into the second house as well. So it can definitely be about contracts in regards to money, or signing something, or having some kind of conversation or negotiation about your earnings and increasing your income in some kind of way. That can be very, very important. And it's definitely going to be a highlight for the next couple of weeks. So know that like all the people entering your life right now are going to be like far more important in your future than you can right now realize. So pay, put a big emphasis on that and celebrate those people. Good luck, Gemini. We have Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. What's up, Cancer? You're going to have a full moon in the sign of Sag in your sixth house. And your sixth house is, of course, the house of work, your health, your daily routines. It's also about your habits, your productivity, your daily service. It can also be about coworkers and also about your physical health and well-being. So what is interesting here, you guys, is that the ruler of this full moon is actually Jupiter, and it's in your sign. So there is actually mutual reception, because normally Jupiter belongs to Sag in your sixth, and normally the moon belongs into your sign of Cancer. So they are switched, and that is called mutual reception. And that is actually very beautiful because it creates a very supportive, like energetic flow for you, and it can be emotionally with the sign of Cancer, but also very spiritually with the sign of Sag. And because it's in the first and the sixth, it can also become very physically into like this earthly realm. So that is definitely giving you a lot of blessings from Jupiter wrapping up its transit through your sign. And look back at how much you've grown in the last year. The sixth house and the full moon there is definitely going to be putting a huge spotlight on your work life balance and on all the systems that support your daily life. And maybe some of you are going to need or want to make healthier choices, or you're seeing the results of making them or implementing them 6 months ago. If you have been eating differently, exercising more, organizing your life better, or maybe implementing some more rest, or focusing on emotional healing, then now it can come into like form. Sixth house is a very practical house. So if you haven't been doing that, and if you have been over productive in some kind of way, if you have been focusing a lot on working, then Here there can be like an increase in stress, and it's gonna put a spotlight on how depleted you are. Some can feel very exhausted or overworking or trying to prove themselves. Maybe your body needs some more attention. Definitely look at the liver also and how you've been, um, I was going to say, deleting toxins, purging out toxins. That might need a little bit more healing or attention right now. Of course, does your daily life support your emotional well-being, and do you maybe need to change something up in those realms? You are very giving towards other people, and do not neglect your own sense of well-being. Look at your routine, your healing, your mental health, your physical body during this time. Of course, with Jupiter in your sign, that is definitely boosting your self image and your identity and your personal confidence and growth as well. So, this is definitely a very beautiful energy that gets in the mix here. And if you want to like change your jobs or apply for a new job, job changes are definitely also in the cards here. Maybe an unexpected new work opportunity, and by that you can maybe improve your routine or tap into better organization, or also like healthier habits can become more established. So also know that like when you rest, then that is also very productive, and it's a lesson that I still really need to learn or implement way better, because the sun in the 12th house is putting a spotlight on isolation and on rest and replenishment, renewment before Cancer season starts. So maybe you need to look at boundaries and do not like sacrifice your health to keep everything running right now. That can also be like one of the realizations, because yeah, your body is like never separate from your emotions, and that is also gonna like way amplified right now. So good luck, Cancer. We have Leos and Moon rising. All right, my dear Leos. I was gonna say Lenos. My dear Leos. Oh my God, that is like yeah, that is bow chicka pow wow, because having a full moon in your fifth house trining you by sign, that is like celebration. And also Jupiter is about to enter your sign soon, my dear Leos. Oh my God, you're gonna have the time of your life. I am like looking forward in your guys' place. Let me know, do you already feel the positivities coming in, or are you still not quite sure? Well, I am sure, and trust me when I say it, as soon as Jupiter enters your sign for the next year, that is going to be very blissful for you guys. It's going to trine Neptune, Saturn, and yeah, that is just like going to be one hell of a party. It just needs to oppose Pluto, but we'll talk later about that, and it's only going to be a short period of time. But the full moon in Sag, it's going to be in your fifth house. It's going to activate all the themes in regards to romance, creativity, your children, everything that makes you feel passionate, or all the projects that you're doing with all of passion. It's also going to boost your confidence, themes of pleasure, self-expression, very, yeah, very positive. If you're a musician, or if you need to be on stage, which is very applicable for Leos, because the fifth house is the natural Leo house. So performance is being triggered here as well. Can also be about fertility, or engaging in a new hobby, and visibility is just like being increased here. So this might feel very, very exciting for you guys, and it's about playfulness, doing the things that make your heart sing. Maybe you're gonna feel inspired and creating some very beautiful artistic things here. And this is definitely wanting you to reconnect with your joy. You have been, yeah, it's like what wants to be expressed through you, what wants to be born, what wants to get created. That is definitely a very creative place and stage in the fifth house. Your soul wants to shine, and Sag energy says you need to stop hiding your gifts and do not overthink all your creativity. Do not wait until everything is perfect. No, you need to now put yourself out there. That is going to lead to massive creative breakthroughs. Artistic inspiration is boosted. You can get to know someone new. A romantic development can happen if you go out and about, and opportunities to increase visibility. So romance, dating, pregnancy, children, fertility, all of that is gonna be, yeah, a lot of fun. So expect some sexy nights when you have a full moon in the fifth. And you can even find out that you're pregnant. You can be talking about children, or you might be opening up and exploring or have new inspiration around wanting to have children. That can also get ignited here. And with Jupiter then entering your sign, oh my god, like the fertility and the pregnancies for Leos are gonna be like through the roof, because Jupiter amplifies, and Leo is of course about children, and now you have a full moon in the fifth. So take your precautions if you're not ready to become a parent. Maybe some of you are going to become a grandparent. That is also very possible here with this energy. But definitely, this is like stimulating the energy of like the birth process, and can be a project, a business idea, a passion, a talent that is either completed or gaining a new spark of life and fire. So the ruler of this full moon is of course Jupiter, and he's been traveling through your 12th, and that is more like a preparation phase or like a spiritual incubation period before it jumps over into your sign. And maybe you have been working on something behind the scenes, and now you're ready to put it on stage or to release it in some kind of way, publish something, get yourself out there. And yeah, this is definitely like you're gonna be so happy this summer with the full moon, with the new moon solar eclipse in your sign on August the 12th, my dear Leo, and the energy is definitely starting to come in for you guys. So yeah, let people see what you've been creating and be proud of it. It's gonna give you a lot of opportunities during the summer, you guys. And are you truly creating what fulfills you, or do you simply create what other people want you to? Maybe you're gonna shift something in that as well. But reconnect to your joy, your authentic creativity and self-expression. Do not perform for validation, because that is not going to work out well. But yeah, just perform because your soul genuinely needs expression and is genuinely well at performing. So um do not hide your light behind the curtain forever here with Jupiter in your 12th house. It's about like the curtain is about to drop, and ta-da, there are going to be a lot of Leos on stage that are going to be finally showing their true self after what they have been working on for maybe even 12 years. So that is going to be so positive. I'm happy to see what's happening for you. Let me know. Good luck, Leo. We have Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, my dear fellow Virgo Risings, how are you guys doing? You're gonna have a full moon in Sag in your fourth, and the fourth is, of course, about your home, your family, your roots, and also your emotional foundations. It can be about your ancestry, a bit more private, your living situation at home, your roommates, and yeah, Virgo, you're one of the mutable signs, and I think I forgot to mention that for Gemini. But of course, with the notes of fate in your sign, the south node is in your sign, about to leave by the end of July, and the north node is still in your seventh. So all of your angular houses are getting triggered with the sun in your 10th here as well. So this is a mutable grand cross, and you're going to feel pressure from every direction at once with all of the angular houses affected. So especially if you have something in Virgo between, let's say, 7 and 12 degrees, then you're going to feel this very, very strongly. Um, a lot of changes, a lot of unexpected changes that can be connected to your identity, your relationships, but also your career direction, and also at home. And it can all happen at the same time. And I know you, and I also know myself, we're kind of control freaks, and we try to manage everything, control everything. We are very perfectionistic, we are very hypercritical. This one is about surrendering and letting go of control. Yeah, good luck with that, fellow Virgo rising. Yeah, it's just like gonna be a little bit more emotional for us. It's also squaring us by sign, you guys. It's in a fellow mutable sign. So, of course, the fourth house, that is a very deep and sensitive kind of area. It's about our family and emotional security. If we feel safe, seen, and heard, can be about our childhood, something connected that happens to our home environment, living situation, maybe something in regards to property, maybe moving, renovating. All of that is becoming highly activated. So some of you are going to move your house, selling property, buying property, reorganizing something at home. Maybe you need to relocate for work unexpectedly with opposition to Uranus. Maybe you need to deal with unexpected changes within the family, and because the south node is moving through your sign, we need to release a lot of like control and being too hyper focused on certain things. We do not need to earn our worth through productivity or perfection, and that has been the big lesson here of the south node in Virgo. I have been getting better at it. Let me know if you guys have been getting better at it. I definitely see an improvement in that. Sometimes now I'm getting totally lost and the opposite side of the wheel in Lord Node and Pisces, where I'm like, well, I better implement a little bit more of my Virgo qualities right now. But that is also because my solar return got hit off with an Pisces rising. So that is definitely adding a lot of that for me. But let me know if you're also feeling that energy. We need to really release with the South Node in our sign overworking. I have been trying to release that, but it's so difficult. Overanalyzing, self criticism, hyper independence, feeling responsible for fixing everyone else. Nope. If we are hyper focused on trying to fix everyone else, it's because we try to run away from what needs to be fixed within. So, yeah, I have actually felt exhausted, but that's also with Saturn on my sun. Let me know if you guys are also feeling that. But with the South Node, it's definitely possible. And with the full moon now in the fourth, it's definitely like, where do we feel emotionally safe? Are we allowing ourselves to rest emotionally? Are we trying to build something in survival mode? Then we need to let that go. The ruler of this full moon is, of course, Jupiter, and it's in the 11th house. So that is the house of friendships, communities, your social networks, can also be about your audience, certain collaborations. So um, if you feel emotionally overwhelmed, just step into the positive Jupiter in the 11th house. Call a friend, go out and about, have some fun. There can be a lot of support arriving through your network. So, yeah, connect with the social, or like reach out towards social connections. That is definitely gonna take the sharper edges of this full moon. So maybe you also need to get like out of isolation. Maybe you need to get out of the house. If you get an invitation, say yes. Go to some friends. Go to gatherings. Surround yourself. Life is not only about stress and obligations. So yeah, um, I think some of you Virgos are also going to be changing jobs with Sun, Uranus, and E10, or had some unexpected disruption last week. There's also the possibility. But yeah, how do we balance our responsibilities with our emotional needs? So there can be some transitions happening here, and know that if you need support, that there are people out there. You just simply need to reach out and connect to those. And I know, Virgo, you have like this hyper independence kind of fixer quality all over you. Sometimes it's just like, well, this is so Virgo rising what I'm gonna say now, but sometimes you just need to like put a reminder in our schedule to make some time to have some fun and to connect certain people, because I know you're so focused on work and fixing and perfectionism that we sometimes even forget how to have a good time. And I'm not saying that all Virgos are boring. No, we're just like wired on seeing the flaws within the systems, and now we're even becoming more emotional towards that. And maybe we need to look at the flaws within our own emotional system, and how that was also inherited probably from our mother line, and how we can like clear out the mother lineage during this time, and having more insights and zooming out and looking at the bigger picture on what we've inherited from our mother line, and how we can release certain ancestral patterns, because this moon is actually about freedom. But then there's a quincunx towards Mars in the ninth, so that can definitely be a little bit more difficult during this time. So yeah, have some have some free time. Go out and do some fun stuff when it gets too emotionally overwhelming. Virgo, good luck. You have Libras and Moon rising. All right, my dear Libras, the full moon is going to activate your third house. And it's in a sextile sign towards you, so it's making positive aspects towards your sun, moon, or rising. But the third house is about communication, your mindset, learning, writing, transportation, your siblings. Can also be about short distance travel, social media, your email list, blogging, podcasting, signing contracts, or releasing yourself from a contract. So this is a very mentally active full moon. There can be a lot of busyness. There's movement, there's news, there's phone calls, there are DMs, there are emails. There can be a lot of conversations happening, and by that, a lot of decisions made. So um, you need to share like your voice, and you can do that by launching a website, by making a public announcement, by signing some kind of contract. But definitely, it's like you need to really share your vision and ideas with the world right now. Definitely with the opposition to the sun in the ninth. Ninth house is about publishing as well. And maybe some of you are going to step into more visible roles within communication, or being on the road in some kind of way. Sagittarius and also your third house, it's like about expansion that happens through words, ideas, connections with other people. Maybe you get an important conversation with one of your neighbors. Maybe your siblings have something important to say to you. And there is a mutable grand cross, and it's pressuring you to actually expand beyond old mental limitations. That is the case for everyone, but for you it also happens within the 6th and the 12th. It's also very strongly connected to your mental and your physical health here and well-being. So also look at that. It's like mind over matter, and there are definitely a lot of moments of isolation in which you can actually ponder upon how you're actually doing, and how you need to come out of isolation and find more. There's like an emphasis on grounding here as well within the practical realm, but following your intuition with it as well. And with the sound note in the 12th can give some difficulties with releasing self-sabotaging patterns, and really trusting how to learn to listen to your intuition in your like daily routine. Um, do not overthink too much about the same problems. Just ground yourself in reality, do some daily chores, and it's gonna help you get out of that mood. Of course, we look at the ruler of this full moon, and that is Jupiter. And look, Jupiter is about to get hit by your chart ruler Venus. That is so beautiful, and it's happening in the 10th house. And that is, of course, connected to your career, your status, your recognition, your visibility, and also your reputation. Can be about blessings through a leadership role or from someone in an authority position above you. Maybe you're the boss. Maybe there's something good happening in regards to your reputation. And there can definitely be career recognition, promotions, opportunities to embody more leadership, a lot of growth within your business, or a major announcement, third house, that is connected to your work or your career or your social like status or like your reputation in some kind of way. So yeah, who is supporting your growth? And that is also going to become very obvious here. And if you work in the fields that are connected to the media or education, writing, marketing, social media, publishing, transportation, travel industry, teaching industry, public communication, and there can be very big momentum building right now. And by that, you gain more visibility. So news is going to travel very quickly. You're going to receive important phone calls, big conversations, and by that, contracts that can lead to an announcement by a new opportunity that happens very unexpected. Some of you might also need to travel for work unexpectedly. Others are going to complete some kind of certification. That can also be the case here. So something is opening up, something is reaching some kind of completion, and by that, a destined new door is opening up. And also do not underestimate like the power of one simple conversation or one announcement or one message that can ripple way further than you were expecting to. So good luck, Libra. We have Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right. This is actually a big one for you because it's happening in your second house, but it's quincunxing one of your chart rulers, Mars, in your seventh. So of course, the full moon in Sag in the second, that is about your money, your income, your possessions, your self-worth, your skills and talents, and also your personal resources. It's putting a spotlight on your financial stability. So, of course, this is like major shifts happening within the financial realm. And it's also putting a spotlight on your emotional and psychological mindset around like abundance and what you believe you deserve. So that is going to get triggered in the next couple of weeks. And it's also going to get triggered by your partner in some kind of way. And it's not going to be in such a positive kind of way. Maybe your partner is going to make it obvious to you that you actually keeping yourself too small for the sake of them and for the sake of their frustrations and their fixed mindset and their way of doing things. Maybe you need to break free from that. That can be a possibility. Maybe you need to own your fuck. Oh, I was gonna swear so typically as I'm doing the sign of Scorpio because like maybe I know Scorpio, you have so much depth. Not everyone understands that. And the full moon in the second house is also about like your self-worth and your skills and talents. And maybe you have been keeping yourself small to keep the peace. And maybe now you're gaining a lot more realizations and insights because Sag is about your belief system, about what you believe you deserve. And maybe now your partner is going to make something obvious to you. Either they're going to trigger something and you needing to ask higher prices. Maybe they're going to show a bad side of themselves with Mars, frustration, conflict within the seventh house of partnerships, marriage, long-term commitments. And maybe they're going to show more of their shadow side. And maybe you're going to be like, okay, now enough is enough. I believe I deserve more. And they're showing me that they are not being able to give me that. There is a 150-degree aspect here to Mars in the seventh house. And Mars is one of your chart rulers in the seventh house, gives a lot of frustration with partnerships. Mars is squaring Pluto still. So I'm filming this on the 26th, but the fact that Mars and Pluto square while I'm filming this, and it's still going to be in the mix even until the end of June, end of May, excuse me. there's probably some kind of power dynamic being triggered here, and not a single one of you is willing to back down. Maybe you are now gonna realize, like, okay, I deserve more, and they are giving me less. That is definitely going to be for a lot of Scorpios, of course. It doesn't need to be for all Scorpios, but definitely with Mars square Pluto, both of the chart rulers in a tense aspect. This is one of the more difficult times of the entire year for you. So let me know how you're doing with that. The second is not just like where the full moon falls, it's not about money in your bank account. It's also about your confidence, your sense of value, your relationship to stability and survival energy as well. What feeds you, what nurtures you, what makes you feel safe, stable, and secure. So, are you still like operating from scarcity, or are you like finally ready to believe that you can and deserve more? The moon is opposing the sun and Uranus from the eighth house, and also Mercury, and that is about shared finances, debt, taxes, loans, inheritances, investments, other people's money. And it can be sudden financial development unfolding here, and it can be in connection to a divorce. The eighth house is also, it's like the house where we merge finances, but it's also the house where we split up and divide the assets. With the quincunx to Mars in your seventh, that is squaring Pluto in your fourth. Fourth house is people that you live with together, your emotions. The seventh house is your partnership, very close one-on-one relationships. I can see that this is difficult energy. All right. This can also be. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm still sick. Oh my god. Yeah, with Uranus now also in the eighth, your financial landscape is like changing permanently, and the relationship that you have towards money or debt or like ownership and who owns what and the give and take axis is being majorly triggered here. So maybe you have been giving way too much than you have received, or maybe you have been taking way too much and not have been giving back enough, and that can also trigger your partner to get like very mad during this time. So um yeah, Mars is also making like a trine aspect towards the south node. So there is also an opportunity here to like release outdated financial patterns or some kind of limiting expectations. Or like splitting up finances, as I already told you. There's something changing financially here. So this is like, again, another deep transformation around control and trust, and I hope you succeeded the test with the Mars square Pluto. Otherwise, you can have a feeling of vengeance or like revenge or jealousy, or maybe your partner projects it onto you, or vice versa. Can also be the case here. But the ruler of this full moon is Jupiter, and that is in your ninth house, trining you by sign. That is actually very beautiful. Some of you are going to see a release of money with the trine towards the south node and the quincunx to the full moon. That is going to be tied towards travel, maybe studying something new to enhance your skills and talents, in which you then can increase a larger income or like increase your prices. Maybe some of you are going to wrap up a certification or publish something. There can also be international opportunities for travel. So, yeah, I think, yeah, with Venus square Saturn here as well from the 9th to the 6th. Yeah, some of you are a little bit in between, wanting more freedom and wanting security at the same time. And Sag wants to jump and have movement, and Scorpio just wants to get everything guaranteed first. But that is not how life works. So do not be too impulsive with your finances right now, or you might regret it later. But no, like the most important thing from this entire reading is that you need to remember that your income and your abundance are actually directly connected to what you believe you are deserving or worthy of receiving. And it is also connected to your partnership. So look at how that is seeping through. Your value from the second house, it is not determined by fear, by lack, or by past situations, and you need to release it in order to move forward. Yeah, I think I've said enough. So yeah, let me know how that's going for you, my dear Scorpio, and I wish you a lot of good luck. All right, we have Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is your full moon, you guys. You are the stars of today's show. So, this is your yearly full moon window. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well, because this is actually a rather fantastic one, with it also being at a 9 degree, which is a Sag degree, of course. So if you have planets and angles around 7 into 11, 12 degrees of Sag, Sun, Moon, or Rising, you're definitely in the direct line of fire in a very positive way. Now, the full moon is happening in your first house. And of course, the first house, that is about your identity and your physical body, how you look, your appearance, people's first impression, the avatar that you embody to play in this matrix. It's about like your personal path here as well. It is a very deeply personal full moon for you, and it's not subtle. It's putting a spotlight on you, whether you like it or not. People are noticing you, you're emotionally feeling everything way more intensely, and it can feel like you're standing at like a huge turning point right now. Everything can shifting simultaneously right now, because there is actually a grand mutable cross between the moon, the north node, the sun, and the south node, and they're all within angular houses. So this is big, you guys. Relationships, home, life, career, emotional foundations, and your sense of self are all getting triggered. So it can be a lot to deal with, but it can be a huge boost as well. So maybe you need to relook and like check the last year and give yourself a pat on the back of how you have grown tremendously, emotional and also psychological. There's been a big transformation happening here, and of course that is because your ruler Jupiter has been going through the eighth for the past year, and the eighth house is the house of transformation. It's also the house of endings and rebirth and emotional healing and shared resources. It's about intimacy, control, trust, vulnerability, grief, transformation. It's a very intense house. The eighth house is not easy, and I know a lot of you Sagittarius have been dealing with a lot of emotional purging, a lot of financial restructuring, deep healing, and a lot of changes involving like your home and family as well. Some of you had to go through some kind of loss, but by that you gain so much psychological breakthroughs as well, and you have been confronting so many fears and vulnerabilities that you could have no longer like avoided. So this is like a rebuilding phase, and you're letting go the old identity that you have outgrown because you've transformed so much in the last year, and now you're like rising again like the phoenix from the ashes, because Jupiter, your ruler, is wrapping up its final steps through the sign of Cancer in your eighth, and it will then jump into your ninth house. Oh my god, the ninth house is the traditional Sag house. Jupiter within its own house, trining you by sign. Boom shakalaka, this is gonna be so awesome, Sag. Oh my god, like I cannot wait to hear all of the fantastic Sag stories. I think I'm gonna start a book. So Jupiter in the ninth, that is gonna be like you're gonna get your optimism back, your inspiration back. It's like about a lot of excitement that is gonna get reignited, and yeah, you're definitely gonna have a way easier year than the one that has passed now. So the sun is also in the seventh, and it's conjunct Uranus. So maybe there were some unexpected shifts in relationships happening or in your partner's life, and that is also like fundamentally changing other like dynamics within your life right now. And who like are you becoming, or who are you right now in the middle of all these changes with all the angular houses affected? Where do you want to go? What do you need to release? Is there something from inside your career that you no longer like to bring within the next year when Jupiter like enters your sign? And I'm like talking about the Jupiter year, and Jupiter years, or like now this Jupiter year starts from the end of June until next year. So just to like delete some confusion around that. Jupiter in Cancer has definitely been teaching you that you need to stop shrinking yourself emotionally. Jupiter and Sag, of course, that you want growth, freedom, but you had to process so much emotionally over the last year, and maybe you have become more guarded or more hesitant. And the full moon is now gonna like reignite your confidence and remind you of your inner strong fire. So some of you are also going to want to change something within your appearance, within your hairstyle, clothing style is also possible. But you are becoming more visible. And the moon is, of course, also making harmonious aspects towards Saturn and Neptune in your fifth house. So, and also Pluto in the third. So that is actually more triggering you to get more like authentically yourselves and to tap into new sources of joy and making joy like a consistency within your life, to implement that within your foundation. And yeah, the old version of you has passed for a long time. That is connected to the eighth house of death and transformation. So it doesn't always have to be like a literal death, of course. We die so much in this one lifetime alone. So look at your past lives within this lifetime alone, and you're going to gain more insights about what the Jupiter in your eighth house also brought. But your full moon trining Saturn and Neptune in the fifth, creative breakthroughs. Can also be about travel opportunities. Of course, there's a Sag full moon, or you're completing an educational program, or you find out that you're pregnant with the trine to Saturn in the third, and that is like giving you a whole new stability and a whole new responsibility as well. And definitely good energy to reclaim your confidence, my dear Sag. So yeah, you're definitely not who you were a year ago, and that is the whole point. And yeah, look back, but don't do it too long because you're already fully stepping into your new version with a lot of regained confidence, faith, and openness to a lot of new possibilities. So good luck, my dear Sag. We have Capricorns and Moon or Rising. All right, my dear Cappies, you are having a very different full moon because this one is falling into your 12th. So, the 12th is very hidden. The 12th is very private. It is very complex, the 12th house. So, everyone is having the time of their lives, and they are barbecuing, they are loud, they are busy, they are traveling, getting their certifications, and you're like, wow, this is like way more internal and way more private, and things are actually unfolding behind the scenes. So there can be a lot going on, but it's not going to be visible so much externally. The 12th is really connected to dreams, intuition, endings, closure, healing, spirituality, hidden emotions, solitude, retreat, a lot about also subconscious patterns being triggered, getting more revelations and insights on how you sabotage yourself. And 12th is about psychological processing and about a lot of things that are actually not fully visible yet or not fully graspable into this reality. So, yeah, for Cappies, this is time to get more reflective, to turn inward, to process a lot of the dynamics with the people you encounter around you. And this is very cool because the ruler of this full moon is actually Jupiter, and he has been moving for the past year through your seventh house. And the seventh house is the house of relationships and partnerships, long term commitment, like marriage or contracts that bind you. It can also be about clients and like significant one-on-one connections. So your partners have an above average, above average like effect on your emotional well-being and your inner world right now. So yeah, I think you're reevaluating your partnerships in silence right now and how much they have grown, what they are offering you, how they have been expanding your emotional well-being, how they have been taking care of you for the past year. That is definitely also a possibility. um Can be about like just cuddling behind the scenes, having a good time together, taking some quality time as well, processing a lot of emotions together. If you're in a good relationship, if you are not in such a good relationship, then you can feel more emotional distance, confusion, and silence within the connections right now, and it's gonna create an effect on your mental health. So it really depends on your own natal chart as well. It can be a very big difference for a lot of Cappies right now. So it's also really like exposing a lot of the hidden emotional dynamics. And you're so strong, you're so resilient, you're like the sea goat, and you're so spiritually in tune. So the 12th house is going to give you a lot of offerings and a lot of psychic insight and a lot of synchronicities as well. This is a house of healing as well, so take some more time off to be able to tap into that. And you also, you cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge emotionally, so this one is gonna confront it with you. Um, Also, like, if there's not a lot of clarity right now, that's okay. If you feel a little bit less productive at the job, that is also very okay. Listen to that. It's about balancing your physical and mental health with the 12th and the 6th house right now. And you need to surrender instead of taking back control. And with Jupiter in the 7th, there is still a lot of growth happening through relationships. But if you work right now with partnerships that are connected to the 12th house teams, which are like psychic mediums, energy healers, therapists, coaches, astrologers, spiritual guides, then that is going to be so beautiful for you. Guidance from other people are going to really help you emotionally process whatever's going on now behind the scenes, and that is definitely going to be very, very helpful. Definitely also with your chart ruler in the fourth house of the emotional side of your chart, Saturn there. Can be a lot of responsibility around the home, and maybe you just need to go talk to someone in order for you to feel a little bit more relieved. And also know that you don't need to solve everything immediately. Just like take your time with this one. Let me know what happens. And with the Queen Kungs to Mars in the fifth house, you can feel like, oh, I want to have some fun, but I feel blocked in some kind of way by a lot of responsibilities at home. That is possible. So good luck, Capricorn. We have Aquarius and Moon rising. All right, my dear Aquarius, you are going to have the full moon in Sagittarius activating your 11th house. And of course, the 11th house is a traditional house of Aquarius. So positive for you. You are very familiar with the energy. The 11th house, friendships, social networks, your audience, community, your collaborations, your friendships, social media, your group dynamics, the collective vision that you share within group dynamics can also be about like colleagues and professional networks as well. So this is a very like socially active and also very exciting full moon, because the 11th, it naturally resonates with your energy already, and there's definitely going to be movement within your realm of friendships, and you're gonna get more connections. You're gonna get invitations for gatherings, networking, and there's like collective momentum building around you right now, so take good use of that. Of course, the full moon is sextiling Pluto in your sign, so that is honestly already quite transforming your identity on a very deep level, and your friendships are definitely going to be helping you with that. Look at where you were a year ago. Pluto has been transforming you time and time again. Your goals are changing, your appearance is changing, your energy is changing, your control dynamics is changing. Wow, the way you relate to other people right now is also very much changing, and the full moon is definitely going to help you to align with new communities, friendships. Maybe a friendship is going to get wrapped up because it's a full moon, but that it's going to be replaced by a more expansive collaboration that is actually going to resonate with this new version of yourself. So do not fear that. You cannot longer keep yourself emotionally disconnected from people, and right now you're getting massively confronted with that because Pluto in your sign, it is actually a lot to deal with. But the sextile to the full moon is saying that you need to connect, you need to go out and about, you can show your strong, forceful nature in a conscious and positive kind of way. You can help restructure the collective vision. You're meant to share your vision with the world. And this is definitely going to bring networking opportunities and a lot of social invitations, or maybe events connected to work, or maybe you decide to post something on social media and you go viral in the 11th house. You can see growth in your audience. Definitely, if you have been planting a new seed in all those realms 6 months ago during the new moon in Sag. So, all the people that will be leaving and entering your life right now are going to play a much bigger role than you realize right now, because Sag is very expansive. They're going to help you to broaden your world view, and that is going to be very beneficial. So also look at your own role within your groups and communities. Maybe something is shifting or ending or restarting, and maybe you need to step into a bigger leadership position, or maybe you're going to realize that certain friendships no longer align with you. And of course, with Uranus in your fifth house now, that is actually so beautiful. There is definitely like surprising shifts that are connected to your creativity, to wanting to put yourself on stage, increased visibility. There can be even an unexpected date by going to like a social invitation or a gathering. You can really get to know someone. You might also hear from a friend that they are pregnant, or you're trying to get pregnant with Uranus and the Sun in the fifth. That is definitely all a bit of a wild card, having Uranus in the fifth for sure. And it's your ruler. So who are you individually, with Pluto transforming your personal magnetism time and time again? And how does that fit into the collective? And how can that benefit the collective as well? That is like, yeah, the reason you were born, to look at those themes. So, the ruler of this full moon is Jupiter, and Jupiter has been traveling through your sixth, and it's wrapping up the transit in your sixth house. I think a lot of Aquariuses are gonna be happy whenever Jupiter is gonna leave Cancer, because it's in a quincunx sign, and it will be in your opposing sign of the seventh, and Leo is gonna be way more beneficial, honestly. And way more, it's going to add way more weight into the scale. That is definitely for sure also. But Jupiter in the sixth right now, house of work, health, routine, productivity, your service, your pets, your co-workers, your daily responsibilities. So future growth is connected to the work you're doing and the services that you offer to other people and also to your friends. That can open up new doors. So some of you with Jupiter in the sixth and the house of work, you're going to see job change because of a friend. You're going to have a new work opportunity, maybe by going to a social gathering. You can see shifts in your schedule. You can see a new team collaboration. Look at how you can improve your routine in regards to your health. Go to the gym, and that is going to help you to calm down the emotions that are connected to stress as well, because that is kind of intense for you guys with Cancer on the sixth house cusp. So maybe you're also going to start to realize that all the work that you do, that actually impacts people on a way larger scale than you realize at first. So maybe you want to contribute something new towards something new, meaningful. So also, do not isolate under this full moon. That would be like the stupidest thing that you can do. I know that sometimes it can get a little bit overwhelming and that you then need to calm down the nervous system, but just do a little bit of breath work and go out and about and take all the chances that come onto your path. A lot of opportunities are going to arrive through social connections very unexpectedly. So, yeah, Aquarius, you're not meant to walk into the future alone. You embody the future, and also you embody like the collective vision, and you need to really share that with other people. So good luck, Aquarius, and let me know what happens. We have Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is a big one for you, Pisces, because you're also a mutable sign, and it's happening at the top of the chart in your 10th house of Sag. So the 10th house is, of course, connected to your career, your visibility, your reputation, your public image. It's also about like recognition and like your achievements and your leadership position, and also like your long-term direction. So this the on top of the chart, very publicly visible for you. Whatever happens, there can be a major professional culmination happening. Maybe you reach a deadline, maybe you get a promotion, maybe your boss is leaving. All very possible, but it can be about career breakthroughs. If you want to launch something in regards to your own business, maybe you've launched something 6 months ago and now you see like a completion of that. There can be new opportunities that can lead to bigger public recognition, and some of you are even gonna retire or leave an old job behind. um, this is definitely like a push for you to finally go out or get out of the comfort zone and step into like a new path that is gonna feel way more aligned. It's gonna feel more expansive. It's very beautiful energy, and you're gonna realize that you no longer want to like build a life that only looks successful externally. You want something that feels meaningfully inside, emotionally, spiritually, with the sign of Sag. And what's really cool is that the ruler of this full moon is Jupiter, and Jupiter has been traveling for the past year through your fifth house of Cancer. It's been trining you by sign. Very beautiful, blissful energy, especially if you're a Pisces rising, more Pisces sun, moon, or rising towards the end degrees, then Jupiter is now making a trine towards you. If you are a Pisces sun, moon, or rising within like the first 7 to 11 degrees, then the full moon is squaring you. So very different for certain Pisces. Make sure you know your own chart. So Jupiter in the fifth, that is definitely about creativity and romance, passion, your children. Can also be about like entrepreneurship. And with the full moon in the 10th, a lot of people are going to be like, okay, I'm over it. I'm not going to work for a boss anymore, because you need freedom above your head. Sag at the 10th house cusp. You need to be able to like add philosophy and higher wisdom and meaning into your job. And if you have a nagging boss that just tells you to act like a robot and complete all of these tasks, that is not like possible for a Pisces. So now with Jupiter in the fifth house, that is about like self-expressive qualities and passion projects and becoming an entrepreneur and making your job from your hobby, like monetizing your skills and your artistic gifts. So really, if you're like on the brinks of that, this can be like the push to get you out of the comfort zone, to really start embodying that, to have like a side hustle. Launch that creative business, launch that artistic project, tap into side hustles, look at social media platforms. This is very good energy for like having new ventures within the entrepreneurial space. So fifth house is, of course, also putting an emphasis on dating, children, parenting, discovering a new passion or hobby. It's putting an emphasis on wanting to expand your leisure time, but can also be like the final push. And I'm going to repeat myself again. Finally, you're going to be able to maybe take a hobby seriously enough to turn it into something bigger. And that is going to then like also add meaning more in your career in some kind of way. You're going to feel more fulfilled by doing that. So, also, you're gonna feel like more emotionally inspired about the future. You could feel creatively awakened as well, or more spiritually aligned with your work by an unexpected opportunity. There can also be more public visibility casted from this full moon, and maybe that is also going to give you the power to willingly trust more, or tap more into your intuition that is linked to your professional life. So the question you can ask yourself, dear Pisces, is like, which versions of success are actually fulfilling towards your soul and are actually giving you pleasure with the fifth house Jupiter? You're what once maybe mattered, maybe that can change a lot right now. And the full moon is definitely helping you to work something that feels more authentic within your vocation or what you're publicly known for. And with the opposition to the Sun and Uranus in the fourth, there can be unexpected moves, maybe connected to a new job, or maybe you get fired and you need to find a new job, and maybe then you can move. Just know that it's all divine timing, because the full moon and the Sun are squaring the nodes of fate. The North Node is within your sign. So whatever happens right now, it is divine timing. Surrender, trust, tap into the intuition. But a lot of like unexpected developments at home can also have an effect on your career, and you need to really balance your private life from the fourth with your career growth of the 10th. And with the mutable grand cross here, it can feel in the angular houses, the first, the fourth, the seventh, and the 10th, that like everything is shifting at once. Career changes trigger home changes. Relationship developments alter your future plans. A lot of creative opportunities might like completely redirect your path. So the full moon wants you to align with something way more authentic. So yeah, go through the healing and accept it and surrender and release codependency and sacrifice and insecurity that are connected to relationships with the south node in the seven as well. So yeah, you're gonna probably experience a major professional glow up over the next several months that is going to feel emotionally fulfilling, not just like externally impressive. So that is actually the whole point of this full moon. So yeah, you are allowed to build a life around what genuinely lights up your spirit. Isn't that beautiful? That is definitely a very beautiful message for my dear Pisces. So I wish you good luck. All right, everyone. Thank you guys also much for tuning in today. If you want to help me to get back into the good algorithm, and if you're still here, don't forget to press the or hit the like button. You can also share it, and you can also share one of your favorite emojis on my in the comment section, and I very much appreciate all of your help and support. So I will be back for another video quite soon. Probably, yeah, this Sunday I'm gonna do the June forecast, and then I'm also gonna be looking at the Venus Jupiter conjunction. That's gonna be very beautiful. So yes, stay tuned, and if you want to get an alert for whenever I upload new videos, then you can hit the bell button below. So thank you guys also much, and I will see you back soon. Bye bye.